giving you the real from A to Z surrounding the Dallas Cowboys. News, updates, rumors, transactions, takes, and more. So strap up, Cowboys Nation, and start your day off with A to Z Sports. Live with Will Steele.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go. Good morning, good people. Welcome back to A to Z Sports Live, presented by Texas Family Fitness, Freeman, Mazda, Hyundai, and Worth the Poor. I am your host, Will Skywalker Steele. Boom! We back. Coming up today, we got our guy Kyle Youmans joining the show to take us inside OTAs, get us some, the bird's eye view of what went down there. Also, we'll hit the Twitter streets. Lots of tweets came out yesterday about OTAs, so we're going to dive into that. It's funny because I had an entirely different show planned, but of course, once OTAs concluded, that's where we needed to be. So, fun show lined up, lots of nuggets, lots of things to discuss. Stick with us. We'll get Youmans at the top of the hour. But in the meantime, in between time, we'll hit the Twitter streets and we'll discuss everything that we heard coming out of OTAs. Hopefully one of these days I'm able to be in there. But if you want to call into the show, you can. 351-999-3787 is the call-in line, Pulse of the Nation. And, if you're hitting up the call-in line, if you're here every day, as a lot of you guys are, y'all are part of the Bomb Squad.
Bomb Squad!
I'm always humbled that you guys are here every day with me in the morning. It's funny because it's been a dream of mine to have a morning show, but I didn't know if anybody would actually watch every freaking morning, and y'all here, so I appreciate it. I wasn't here yesterday, and I got to be completely honest with you why. Because we're a community here. We're family. Right? Y'all have become part of my lives more than you know. And after the tragedy on Tuesday, I, like many parents, it hit me pretty hard. And I reached out to my oldest, who is in elementary school, both of my boys, but reached out to my oldest, who's in elementary. We had a conversation about it. The next morning, which was yesterday, I reached out to him again, talked to him a little bit before school, and anxiety started to hit in a little bit as he left. It just did. I'm usually the type that really tries to put the head down, stay strong, go through. But yesterday was tough. It was tough to do that. I couldn't come on here and pretend like it wasn't. So took a mental health day. And I think a lot of Americans were kind of feeling the same way. Not a lot of Americans could do the same thing. So I appreciate you guys for bearing with me. And we're back. It's still tough. Don't get it twisted. But that's where the strength, I guess, has to push through. But it's very sad what happened here in Texas in regards to that mass shooting. And I just want to let you guys know I am thinking about it. I am upset. I am frustrated. And I hope things change some way, somehow. I'm not about to go political. We're not doing that here. I'm just letting you guys know how I felt at that time and why I wasn't here. So if you have boys, girls, if you have children, please hug them tighter, teach them more, and love them harder, because we should not be fearing our babies heading to school. And I wanted to share that with y'all. That's why I was not here yesterday. It had nothing to do with anything other than that. It was rough. But appreciate y'all for being here. Y'all are kind of like therapy, as my guy would say, Law Nation, right? Being able to talk boys with y'all, diehards, as we like to say, every day with y'all, make it easier for me to do my job. So I wanted to get that out there. All of you who are maybe feeling the same way, you're not alone. That's basically why I wanted to say this. You're not alone at all. All right? So, with that said, there is no easy way to move on from that. but we will try. We'll get into the roundup, and then coming out the roundup, we'll get into this OTA news. There will be a lot to discuss. Honestly, this could have been 2 shows with as much information that dropped yesterday. But that's why we got our boy Kyle Youmans coming on the show later on. So let's go ahead and hit this roundup and update you on a little bit of the injury situation and get into it.
It's time! It's time! It's time!
It's time. It's time.
It is time for
It's time for the morning roundup. Round 'em up, boys.
Yes, indeed. This is the morning roundup presented by Texas Family Fitness. Strive for progress, not perfection. They're more than just a fitness club. They provide the tools, support, and resources you need to achieve your goals. So hit up any of the 13 different locations in the DFW area or visit TexasFamilyFitness.com. So, I'll talk about this with Kyle Youmans later, but for me at least, when it's time for organized team activities with the veterans, the first thing I'm kind of looking at is who is playing or not playing, who's participating, who's not participating. And we've got some interesting notes that came out of who is available, who isn't. And by the way, this is kind of like overreaction Monday, right? Where I got me? Here we go. Well, it's like overreaction Monday where, listen, it's May. Let me just put this out there. It's May. It's going to be May. There's not a lot to it, but then with some of this injury information, it makes me go, come on, dog. But here's one where I'm like, okay, it's May. Things may be fine. James Washington was in the boot. Really didn't discuss why, and then I think it was Fish who came out, dug a little bit further, and they said he had tendonitis in his foot. So that's why he's wearing a boot. Don't like that. I've got tendonitis in my knee. Don't like that. You could play with it, though. That's just something you don't want to hear. But here is who was out yesterday, or did not participate, let me say. Tyron Smith. Michael Gallup, of course. Jabril Cox, of course. Rico Dowdle. Jaquan Hardy. Damone Clark, of course. Center Alec Lindstrom. Carlos Watkins. Oso Digizua. And Devontae Bond exited with an apparent knee injury. Now, Jabril Cox and Tolbert also did not participate, but Jabril Cox and Tolbert were present. They just didn't practice. And I have to laugh a little bit at Mike McCarthy, which we'll get back to the first word, by the way, y'all. Mike McCarthy was at his press conference, and he said, man, y'all really do injury reports for OTAs? I didn't have to deal with this in Green Bay. This is interesting. Because we got to remember, Cowboys Nation, this is the first time Mike McCarthy has dealt with the media in OTAs. He didn't have this to deal with because there was no OTAs, I believe, in 2020. And in 2021, there was still some weirdness going on with COVID. So this is the first time he's addressing the media this early. And he said it's really not custom around the league. But in my head, I'm like, well, Mike, this is the Cowboys. If somebody sneezes wrong, the media wants to know. The nation wants to know. And they'll get put out there. So, of course, the injury report is going to be something they want to know with the first organized team practice. Coach Mike, we thought you'd have realized that by now. But, yeah, so that's who was out. Tyron, Michael, Jabril, Rico, Jaquan, Damone, Lindstrom, Watkins, and Osa. And Devontae Bond left. So, again, overreaction Monday type feel. A lot of these dudes will be fine once we get to training camp, but some of them, and we'll talk about it later, makes me have a little wince. And then there was an article, I believe it was on the Draft Network, I want to talk about here. Remember 2 days ago, on Tuesday, we had a healthy running back discussion between Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard, and most of it, unfortunately, was pitting them against each other. I try to avoid that because y'all know how I feel about both of those guys as a tandem, as a duo. Well, I'm not the only one who thinks highly of them as a duo. The Cowboys Network, the Draft Network site ranks the Cowboys duo as the 4th best tandem in the league. I want to know if y'all agree with that. The 4th best tandem in the league. And at first, I'm like, what? And then I went and looked at them like, oh, maybe they're not. Maybe. But listen to who is ranked in front of them. Number 3, Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Okay. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon, number 2. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, number 1. I've always felt Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt were the best 1-2 tandem in the league, so I have no problem with that. Just want to briefly talk about Jonathan Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Taylor is phenomenal. Fantastic. One of the best young running backs in the league. There's no doubt about it. So it's hard to argue, right? But Nyheim Hines is a specialty back, right? He's productive. He's had productive years in this league, but I take Tony Pollard over Nyheim Hines. The only reason why he ain't getting those type of numbers is because he's not getting the rock like that. So I disagree with that. I'd take Zeke and over Taylor and Nyheim Hines. Here's where it gets a little interesting. Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon. I'm on record saying that Javonte Williams, had Melvin Gordon not returned, would have put out a top 5, top 6 type of fantasy/production type of year. We know firsthand what Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon can do to the Dallas Cowboys. So part of me is like, man, whatever. And the other part's like, well, they did run all over us. I would still argue TP and Ezekiel Elliott, but maybe that's the Cowboy fan in me. But nonetheless, they have him at number 4, and I'll give a quick excerpt of what they said on their site. Pollard says, Cowboys finished 2020 season ranking 9th in the league in rushing yards, and a large part of that success lands on the shoulders of both Elliott and Pollard. Pollard steps into the explosive slasher role. As a result, Elliott can work more efficiently between the tackles. Pollard is dangerous in space and receiving option out the backfield. Talk about that later. Making these two running backs a near perfect pairing for this Cowboys offense. Been saying that for years. This is just a perfect complement to each other. We just need Kellen to get it together. But I'm going to have more on Pollard later as Dallas had to get creative with their slim wide receiver room. We'll talk about that later on, Cowboys Nation. That is this morning's roundup presented by Texas Family Fitness. Do y'all have an issue before we get into the OTAs with and these are rankings. I don't normally like to do these things, but I thought it was an interesting topic. Ezekiel Elliott and Tony Pollard being behind Chubb, Hunt, Javonte Williams, Melvin Gordon, Taylor, Hines. You know, Toxic, I'm going to end up putting Ryan Nall on the mute list. Now I'm not going to do that because you'll just find a way to switch it up. Anybody got an issue with that? It looks like Nick Chubb and Kate. Let me see. Professor Rose says Cleveland. Number 1 is fine with me. I agree. Number 3, I have an issue with. Me too. Give me Zeke and TP over Jonathan Taylor and Hines. Together, y'all. I could argue Jonathan Taylor is a better running back than both, but y'all don't want to talk that. I don't want to have that conversation. What we got? All right, not too many people have an issue. No issues for me, says Steven. I agree. It's about one spot. I ain't gonna do about one spot. But yesterday, I want to start with what I believe was the highlight of yesterday at OTAs. And it was with the fan favorite, y'all. A guy who continues, I think to propel in the depth chart, if you want to call it that, whatever you want to call it. Markquese Bell is making a name for himself. Okay? He made the play of the day yesterday. In fact, let's go ahead and take a look at, I believe it was Clarence Hill, who had this to say about Markquese Bell's play of the day as we hit the Twitter streets. Markquese Bell had the play of the day at Cowboys OTAs with the pick 6 off of Cooper Rush. He jumped the goal line out to Tony Pollard, tipped to himself, and ran down the sideline to the end zone for a celebration. Probably went out of bounds. Keep an eye on him. FAMU HBCU. Listen, he's carrying over that rookie minicamp momentum to the vets. And I know it's OTAs, I know it's early, but you want to hear these things. You don't want to hear, hey man, Markquese Bell got beat like a drum. All right? So again, overreaction Monday. type of feel. I get it. It's OTAs. We're not going to go crazy. It's Cooper Rush, but you'd rather hear these guys are building momentum. And when you listen to Mike McCarthy, let's go ahead and usher back in our first word segment that we used to do during the season. Now we got some more press conferences happening. Maybe we'll start putting that back in the show. But listen to Mike McCarthy speak glowingly of Markquese Bell, and he touches on that versatility in today's first word.
A guy like Markquese Bell, who's an undrafted free agent, and he's trying to make a name for himself. He makes an interception, he returns it for who knows if he scores in a real situation there or not. But
well, I think it was out of bounds there when that's what you call it.
It still was a moment.
It looked
right?
good. It was a great moment for you guys. Yeah.
All right, that's a moment for him too. And just how important are those moments to just stand out and do something to try and stand up to the coaching staff?
Well, no, I love your question because you're making a great point there, and he's been impressive. I mean, he's jumped out at the rookie camp. So he's was very impressive in the Zoom calls leading up to coming in here. So that to me that's all about young guys just keep stacking success and then when they start making plays like that too, that definitely helps. But
Mike, how much can he be a hybrid kind of a guy?
Yeah, good point. I mean that was part of our attraction to him too. I think you've seen what we've done with J.K. and the ability for safeties to play nickel and dime, and he definitely has that ability, and that was part of the attraction. That was the conversation we had to draft him too when we were talking about him.
That was the conversation we had in the draft room. We were talking about. We got a little bit of that, a hint of that from Dan Quinn at rookie OTAs? Rookie minicamp, I'm sorry. And now Mike McCarthy is talking about it. He's clearly getting on the right side of the coaching staff and making his presence felt. And again, the fact that if you listen to McCarthy speak about curse and you listen to Dan Quinn bring up curse when they're talking about Markquese Bell, it's becoming more and more clear that he's going to be in the running to play that backup role. That specific role, I should say. I shouldn't say backup safety, but that kind of hybrid come down linebacker can play safety type of role. And that's impressive to me because he's an undrafted guy. Donovan Wilson's still on this team, by the way, who I think could do a little bit of those things, but I kind of like him. I like him kind of coming down as a missile at safety. Nonetheless, Bell has gained the confidence of Quinn, is impressing his head coach. If you had to pick, I don't even think this is hard, off the rip. If you had to pick an undrafted guy to make this team, I think Markquese Bell. There's Markquese Bell who's up here, and then there's everyone else. I think we can agree with that. There's everyone else. Do we believe that Markquese Bell? I shouldn't even ask the question, do we believe he'll make the team? Make it a little bit harder on y'all. I'm going to put y'all a little bit on a spot here early. It's only May. Do we believe Markquese Bell can carve out a role? That's early. I'm gonna be real here. A role, probably not. Unless you believe special teams is a role. If you believe special teams is a role, then that's fair. AJ Torres took the words out my mouth, Sky. I like Wilson coming down as a wrecking ball. Same here, brother. I don't know that I want him to. He can play around the box. Don't get me wrong. Blitz him some. That'd be cool too. But I love him coming down as a missile. Toxis believes that he can. Okay. Mr. Woods says he has the talent too. Todd says special teams. DQ carved it out before he got here. He did, Steven. Stephen White says he carved it out. I mean, I love that McCarthy is putting us inside of their thinking of when they bringing on some of these guys. And the fact that actually Dan Quinn told us. Dan Quinn said, hey, can you come down here and do linebacker things? Let me see you do linebacker things. Talked about it at rookie minicamp. McCarthy talks about it. All right. We talked about this last week. I think we're getting more evidence that Bell is that dude now in the running to be that dude behind J-Ron Curse. Kel says special team is a vital role. That's true. Maybe that's why I said let me add the special teams part of it. You're right about that. Special teams is considered a role. It is considered a role, and it's a path to the roster. Gregory says, yes, him and Hooker will be fun this year. Wait, what about Curse? Jerry said last year they had 4 safeties on the roster, so I could see him making the team. Absolutely. My only issue is they don't have like a true free safety behind Hooker. I personally think that Wilson can play it, can spot duty it, but I'd like to have kind of a free safety behind Hooker if we could. All right, let's get Los on the horn. What you got for us, Los? Good morning, good brother.
Good morning. Just real quick, man. Hey, I just want to say, I'm real sorry for all those lives lost on that tragedy that happened yesterday. And, it shouldn't not happen. And hopefully everything we can do to improve in our gun laws and everything. But, man, that really hurt me yesterday. And real quick, Sky, with your permission, and we can take like 10 seconds of silence for that. All right. But yeah, Sky. I mean, man, that can kind of hit me hard yesterday.
Yeah,
kind of Cowboys, man. Go for it.
No. Same here, brother. Same here. I got 2 boys. I got an elementary school kid, so it really struck me, and I really couldn't shake it. So that's why I didn't come on here. But again, I just wanted to let y'all know because I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one that felt that, so y'all weren't alone, and clearly you felt the same way, Los.
Yeah. But yeah, just real quick question for you, Sky. I mean, in the OTAs, who do you think will have to show improvement in the second year, big time, to show like they have potential to be in the starter position? Because I'm really keeping my eye on Kevin Joseph or maybe even that safety room because, I think those are kind of the, strengths and weaknesses at times because, I mean, if you really want to be great in football, one thing you're going to have to be great at is taking that ball away and defending these wide receivers now these days because a lot of quarterbacks are trigger happy now. So that's the only question I have. And then, yes, Guy, I mean, you have a great morning. And yeah, man, it's just hard in the world we live in today, man.
It is, brother. It is. Real quick, because I want to make sure I got your question right. You want to know who has to impress in OTAs as a second-year player?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'll get to that. Appreciate you, Los. Los just reminded me. I posted a question yesterday that I actually wanted to get to. And we'll get to it. But he's right. I think if you're talking about year 2 guys, it's definitely Kelvin Joseph. And let's just be honest. Most of it has to do with what happened. And he may not even play. Like, he may not even be available. But he still needs to impress from a player standpoint. The reason why he kind of sparked my interest when he brought that up, I posted a question yesterday. It was very similar to his question. Who needs to impress as much as they can in OTAs to gain momentum into training camp? That was a quick hits question. And let me go ahead and read some of these answers. Y'all can also answer in the chat as well. Joseph Sandberg said, honestly, my answer is Simi Fehoko. Unless he shows something as a receiver because he's not a great special teams player, until the end of the preseason games, he could be a casualty off the roster when Gallup comes back. I know the idea is out there. Try Simi at tight end. Stop the meme idea of what fans thought of doing this with whatever backup receiver they can. That's fair with Simi Fehoko. I think he needs to impress as well. However, I don't necessarily know that he'll be kicked off the team when Michael Gallup gets back because I'm just talking about OTAs, Joe. But that's a good name. He does need to impress to give us confidence. But, once Gallup gets back, I mean, that's, a month into the season. Who knows what's going to happen there, man? So many injuries can happen. Maybe he does something. I don't know that they will be ready to give up on him that early. The wide receiver room is thin. Do you want to make it even more thin? So that part of it, I'm kind of put a pin in it. But the first part, yeah, I think I would agree with you. I think Simi needs to impress. Stephen White said Tristan Hill's on the main stage. Tristan Hill is the picture I use, Stephen. Y'all know how I feel. Tristan I kind of went out on a limb and said, I don't know that he'll make this team. If I had to guess, a surprise cut, I have it being Tristan. Doesn't mean I want it to happen. I want Tristan to ball out, so he's not a surprise cut. But I think Tristan Hill absolutely needs to have a fantastic camp, and more importantly, OTA to get some momentum into camp. Let's see. Tristan Hill. Isaiah says Anthony Brown. Interesting. AB. I don't know. I feel like AB is safe. I feel like he's safer. Now, if he has a terrible camp, then yeah, he'll be gone. Not gone as in cut, but he'll lose his starting spot to Jordan Lewis or Kelvin Joseph. But I find that hard to believe because Kelvin Joseph, unless the NFL just drags their feet, I'm expecting him to be suspended. Danny says Hill no longer fits this defense. If he was a above average or really good 3-tech, sure he does. Everybody could use them. It's just really what consistency, what confidence has he given us to say you are worthy of me cutting somebody else that I could use. Dudes play like, what do we say, squad? Like 17 games out of 50 something, and he hasn't really been all that impressive. And he's been impressive in what, a few. And that's no knock on Tristan. I want him to succeed. It's just he really hasn't given us confidence for me to be like, hey, Tristan Hill, stamp it.
Super chat.
I didn't get to Lamar's super chat. He says, J. Lou was solid, but I feel it's time to move on. Not yet. Not yet, Lamar. Not yet. I don't got enough confidence in Nashawn and Deron Bland. CJ ain't going to play corner. Kyron Brown. Not yet. Not yet. All right, let's get Nacho in the building real quick, and then we'll get to my TP stuff. What's up, Nacho?
My man. How you doing? And how's
better?
The Cowboy Nation well, and I hope we're all well. And man, I've been busy, man. I haven't been calling in, but I've been listening to your show as I do every morning as much as possible. And
thank you.
Great content as usual, my man. Great content as usual. Hey, listen, I'm really excited just about the idea that again, I think I've shared in the past that we might have gone away from the big names and the flashy names and so on and so forth on the draft, but we went a different direction that I truly feel, or at least I'm getting the feeling just by what we're hearing, by what we're listening. We might have really just gotten the type of depth that we've needed for a while on this football team in terms of having the depth in the interior of that line where we've had a weakness of hearing about Tyler and Williams and Tolbert and these receivers, and then of course just listening to Markquese Bell that was undrafted and these players that we've just kind of grabbed along to come in and kind of give us that added fuel of kind of these just a different kind of culture of mentality of players coming in, Sky, that really excite me going forward, and I think we're going to be all right. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think this team is so weird because I do think that they can win this division. I don't think the division is all that crazy, but they haven't done it since the 90s, back-to-back seasons. So that gives me pause. But, yeah, I think this team is still, look at the schedule. You look at the talent that's still there. This is a double-digit win team. So in that sense, I do think they'll be all right, barring injury. But beyond that, I have to wait to see how these boys handle adversity, see how they play against the 4 or 5 top quality teams on the schedule before I can go any further. I've been fooled. They fooled me last year. They got me. I went away from my mantra of week to week, and I kind of fell for the Super Bowl hype, and I won't do it again. Nacho. So yeah, sure, we'll be all right with context.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way with you. I know a lot of my my colleagues and buddies who are, in the Cowboy world up here in the Bay, my main thing is going to be this. Hey, listen, at the end of the day, as a Cowboy fan, we are at that point where, we definitely want to see success, into the playoffs and going farther out than what we've been. And I think that's what it's going to boil down to, especially with the schedule. I feel like the schedule has almost been, to our luck, has almost been tailor-made. This is great. They're getting the breaks kind of in a really good timing, I think. Off the start of the season, the first 6 weeks are going to be, a true testament. Yeah, absolutely. Of where this football team, can be. And then they don't have to do all those combined, 2 to 3 games sometimes in such a short span of time.
They will have to do that. It'll just be a little bit different this year. Let me see. I'm trying to bring up the schedule here. They'll have to do it, Nacho. It just won't be as it was in years past. Let me see here. And I think it comes around after Thanksgiving. Yeah, Thanksgiving area.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's a little crunch there where they might have to do that.
Yeah.
But otherwise I think it's a great schedule for us. And hey, listen, if we can do what we got to do and yeah, obviously the big question will be that we've always had is, okay, we lost a lot of starting talent, and that's pretty obvious, right? Now the question will be is, what have we done to replace that, and in what direction are we going to go? Lastly, I'm going to ask you this question. In the past, obviously since the pandemic, I've kind of slowed things down, but normally in the past what we do is my wife and my 2 kids, we normally do a family trip, and we try to pick one game a year, whether that be a home game in Dallas or that be a road game where we want to maybe visit a city or go to a stadium. So I'm stuck. I want your advice or your opinion on this. Do I travel to Jersey in the 3rd week, the Dallas Cowboys at the Giants, which I've never been to the Meadowlands, or do I find a way to travel to Green Bay?
Oh, I would go to. This is just me personally as a football fan. One of my bucket lists is to visit the frozen tundra. Aaron Rodgers and Dak, frozen tundra, Cowboys, Packers, or Daniel Jones in New York. What are we doing? Now, if you want to go have a good time in a city, it'd be New York. But we're talking football, dude. It's easy. Go watch one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time against your favorite team in one of the most historic sports venues ever.
I'm trying to sell it to my wife. The only thing she's going is, okay, so the only flights we can get from here, for us at least, would be to Milwaukee, and then I need to figure out from Milwaukee to Green Bay the difference in terms of I might have to rent a vehicle and maybe drive up. So I'm doing my research on it. So we'll see.
All right, man.
See which way we go.
Let us know, man. Let us know, Nacho. Appreciate you calling in, brother. Enjoy the rest of your day, man.
All right, my man. You have the same way. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Yeah, that's on my bucket list. I want to go to the frozen tundra, and would love to do it Aaron Rodgers, but that's probably not going to happen. He probably only got a few more years left, if that. And see the boys play down there. Honestly, I'd just go to a game in general. Come on, man. That's history right there. A lot of history in that stadium. A lot of history. Toxic said, I tried to warn you, Sky. You did, but boy, you was so goddamn toxic. You should have been toxic Tom Downey burner account last year. It's Tom Downey burner account. We was 6-1, 7-2, and you get mad at people for being excited about it. I'm still going. Don't get it twisted, Tom. I will still be excited if the boys start 6-1, 7-2, yada yada yada. I'm just gonna live back into my week-to-week mantra as opposed to letting everybody talk me into Super Bowls and NFC championships and all that stuff. Let's just take this thing one week at a time. 1 week at a time. Kingpin said, 06, 07, we went back-to-back then. Win the division. No, we did not. We went back-to-back playoffs. That's the last time we went back-to-back playoffs. We did not win the division in 06 because we had to go on the road to Seattle. And we know what happened on the road at Seattle. So no one has won this division in back-to-back years since I think 03, 04, and that was the Philadelphia Eagles. So, pardon me if part of me is like, pardon me if part of me, oh, it's a bar. Pardon me if part of me is hesitant to just crown their asses. On paper, I like our chances to win this division because we got the best quarterback. And yes, we lost some talent, but I'd argue only the Eagles have maybe closed that gap a little bit with the talent they've acquired. So I still think the Cowboys are the best team in the NFC East. So they should be able to win the division. Should. Got another super chat here.
Super chat.
The frozen tundra. When that mother effer not frozen can't do. Sully. My bad, y'all. Sully with the $5 donation. Appreciate you. He said the frozen tundra, when that thing not frozen, can't do the 20 degrees. Excellent point. Excellent point. I am not going to the frozen tundra in December, January. No. September, October, November. I could deal with November. I'd head over there. Yeah, sure. Absolutely. Jose said, now I don't know what happened here with my restream chat, but I'll have to hop over here. Jose said, this team will be better. Culture wins championships. By the way, y'all, give me a thumbs up if everything is cool on y'all end. I got my guy Kyle Youmans coming in here at the top of the hour, and I want to make sure we're good to go. Something that happened with my chat. Yep, something did happen. Give me a second. Good. It's all right. Jeremy said we're beating the Packers this year. Who has the best defense in the NFC? That's the best defense in the NFC. That's a good question. Because last year, we talked about this a lot. I don't think there was one particular dominant defense. I don't. I think the Rams had their moments. Dallas, obviously with all the turnovers, had their moments. New Orleans had their moments. I don't think there was one dominant defense. So maybe we have to wait and see. Thank you. All right, everything is good. It's just my chat. All I'm getting is Facebook over here, so I'll be back and forth on the YouTube. Let's see. Dallas Sports 1977. I'm getting tickets to the Jacksonville Jaguars game in the jungle in the hometown state of Florida. My son's helping me there. Bucket list. Hey, man, have a great time down there. That is one. I talked about this before. That is the one game on the back end I would love to go to. I've been to DC game plenty of times. Actually, Nashville would be nice too, Tennessee. I'll be here for the Eagles game, but Jaguars, Jacksonville in December, weather's going to be nice. Their stadium has a freaking pool. Yeah. All day and tomorrow, Cowboys Nation. All day and tomorrow. Oh, sorry, Jose. I want the Mavs to win just so Steve Kerr can cry. Where we get the Mavs from? Trey G said, I took a big gulp of the Kool-Aid last year. Traveled to New Jersey, from New Jersey to Arlington for the San Fran game. Oh. You know, that is the fear of doing that in the playoffs. My boys did that in 2016. Shout out to my boys, Rory, Lee, Sean. It was like, Sky, they ain't coming up. Will, you got to get to the game, man. You got to get to the game. Let me just say something. Your boy was broke. I could not afford to get to no game back then. So I didn't go. And part of me was like, man, do I want to spend all that money to go to this playoff game And if we lose, I'm going to be sick on that drive back or that ride back. Mind you, PA, Texas. It's different than I'm in Texas now, whatever, I go. But, and boy, it was the Aaron Rodgers 3rd and 20 game. Yeah. That's the game they went to. Where somebody took a picture and celebrated too early and boom, that happened. So, I feel y'all. All right, let's get into this part of OTAs. And if Kyle comes in the middle, we'll just jump straight in with Kyle Youmans. But there was another tweet that came out that I think caught Cowboys Nation's attention. And it was from Clarence Hill again. The increased use plan of Tony Pollard is in full effect in Cowboys OTAs. They opened team drills with Pollard on the field with Ezekiel Elliott and Pollard lined up in the slot. Now, remember earlier, I had mentioned the Cowboys had to get creative with a thin wide receiver room. It was thin because there was no James Washington, there's no Michael Gallup, and there was no Tolbert. So 3 of their top 4 wide receivers were out. Something similar happened last year when Cooper couldn't participate and they used TP a little bit more on the field with Zeke. You love to hear this, right? You love to hear them have those 2 guys on the field at the same time. Whenever I hear creative, Pollard should be at the forefront, period. He is the guy that you use to do creative things. He is the guy that you can motion out the backfield. He is the guy that you can line up in the slot next to a slot or next to a lamb or whatever. He is the guy that you can do jet sweeps. He is the guy that you can do the Wildcat package. I said this the other day. Tony Pollard should be featured in this offense. Point blank, period. Featured. Minimum 100 carries. He's 8th in first down percentage. 4.8 yards per carry off the tackle. He's 3rd in the NFL when they run outside in run average. 8th in the NFL in yards after contact. 7th in yak per reception on average. So, yes, Kellen and Jerry and whoever else is making these decisions, get your boy TP to rock, man. By hook or crook. Jose said Pollard getting 800 yards rushing and 5 receiving. I mean, but he had that kind of last year almost. Now he had 300-something receiving and close to 800 yards rushing. I'm looking for an 8-8 season with TP. Like, that should be bare minimum to me. That should be bare minimum. Am I wrong on that, Cowboys Nation? 800 yards rushing, 800 yards receiving, I think should be bare minimum, especially when your second wide receiver is out. Shouldn't be that difficult. Professor O says you can make a strong argument that outside of Lamb, Pollard is our second best weapon on offense. I would not argue with you with that. And maybe if you want to use different words to make Ezekiel Elliott fans feel a little bit better, you can say he's our second most explosive player, even though I think he's our most explosive. I had a guy in the chat. Boy, I might have to make a segment on this. Not even the chat. It was a comment section. You could tell people that don't know me. You don't know what you're talking about, yada, yada. You don't know this team. Sir, I literally live and breathe this team. I don't know everything, and I don't pretend to. That's why I got the Bomb Squad. Shout out to y'all.
Bomb Squad!
They keep me on my toes. But he was telling me, well, the reason why they don't give Tony Pollard the ball in those games is because he ain't doing with it. Huh? Excuse me? The reason why the Cowboys don't run Tony Pollard in the games they didn't run Tony Pollard is because he's not doing anything when he gets the ball. How can one do anything with 3 carries? How can one do anything with 4 carries? How can one do anything with 2 touches? Tony Pollard, when they gave him the ball 10-plus times last year, the team, I believe, was something like 6-1. The only loss came against the Las Vegas Raiders, where they didn't have CeeDee Lamb and they didn't have Amari Cooper. So spare me with that he can't get it done. Give him the rock. With that said, I believe we have the great one. Yes, I'm calling him the great one. Our guy, Kyle Youmans, on the horn.
He's in the building!
What's going on, good sir?
What's up, guys? How's it going? Thanks again for having me, as always. It's been a while. I feel like we haven't talked since, like, the Combine.
It's exactly where last time we spoke with, man, or we spoke together, and it was talking about some of the tight ends and the things you've seen. But now we've got a whole draft, Kyle. We got practices, rookie minicamps, lots to get at, brother, lots to get at.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And that off season just continues to fly by in a good way, because that means football's coming. That means things are moving. That means we're getting closer to finally playing the game. So yeah, no, I'm glad that it's flying by, because I'm itching for some football already.
Man, same here. That's why, as diehard Cowboy fans, anytime you get OTAs or rookie minicamp, we're dialed in, because you finally get to see the helmets on at the very least, Kyle. At the very least. And for those who don't know who Kyle Youmans is, he is the Cowboys TV host and draft analyst for .com over there. And, brother, we appreciate you for being here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Anytime.
So, you guys, let's get right into it. You guys finally got a chance to see the rookies and the vets together. And as fans, you know, we kind of live vicariously through y'all because you're there, right? And you guys get the pictures. You guys get the insight and things like that. And the first thing that pops out to me, Kyle, is when I hear who participated and who didn't. And we heard that Tolbert and Washington was out. Obviously, Tyron went down again. Do you have a rundown or any more information on some of those non-participants in the first part of OTA?
Yeah, Mike McCarthy kind of touched on a couple of them yesterday, and specifically with Tyron Smith, that was probably the most concerning one. And it's not necessarily concerning in terms of his availability going into the offseason. It's just concerning, again, hearing his name on the injury report so early on, because it's become such a routine thing to hear Tyron Smith missing time. If it was any other player, it's not a concern. It's just the fact that, Tyron Smith had a bit of a back tightness is what Mike McCarthy called it during his press conference yesterday, because you come to the point in his career where it's like, okay, he's going to miss games. You want him to be as healthy as possible moving forward. So this is more of a safe precaution. It doesn't necessarily mean that's a sign of things to come, but it's kind of just disheartening to hear that Tyron Smith was on that list. As far as Jalen Tolbert and James Washington go, Washington is a little bit further out just because he did have a walking boot on, but it's nothing major. Apparently it's something that would come back, and he could potentially be in practice the next couple of weeks. And then Mike McCarthy said that he expects Jalen Tolbert to be ready to go next week as well. The only other player that was not participating due to either an injury or was working with the trainers was Carlos Watkins on the defensive line. That was the only other guy that had missed any time. And I know I get it when you're missing practices and you're seeing these players that you want to see play, especially at the wide receiver position where you are shorthanded, you are shortchanged without Michael Gallup in the fold, and of course without Amari Cooper at the top of that depth chart. Fans can get a little overwhelmed and say, hey, I want to see these guys play. It's unfortunate that they're not practicing in the early parts of OTAs, but that's exactly the point. It's the early part of OTAs. The Eagles aren't on the schedule tomorrow. I mean, we're not turning around and we're not playing the Eagles in week one or whatever, or we're not playing the Buccaneers in week one tomorrow. It doesn't really matter right now. Yeah, they're missing a practice. The biggest thing is get them ready for training camp.
Absolutely.
If they're missing training camp practices, that's when you can maybe get a little concerned. But even then, you're still in the preseason. So it's easy to get a little bit carried away, but I think for the most part, this team is healthy right now. They know the guys that they need to get back and fully ready, and that's Michael Gallup, Jabril Cox from the injuries that they sustained last year. But outside of that, nothing at the moment looks like it's going to trickle into a significant time missed.
Well, you touched on Tyron Smith, and Jerry kind of let us know after the training camp. I'm sorry, after the draft that they're not going to go out and go sign a veteran swing tackle. Okay, and for me, that I feel a little weird about it. But then you hear Tyron Smith is down again, and you're like, well, here we go. But should we be saying, well, let's go? Because you indicated that Matt Waletzko was out there, and he looked pretty solid. Can you kind of dive in on Matt Waletzko and Tyler Smith that you said looked pretty decent out there?
Yeah, well, the reason why I said they look solid is because you can't say they had really a good or a bad practice, right, specifically because there's no pads on. I mean, there's no physicality to it. The defensive linemen are able to go past these guys. You're looking, at this point in practice, you're looking for footwork, you're looking for movement, you're looking for hand placement. You're not looking for the way that they hold on the blocks and their physicality. And even with that, I think both of those guys brought plenty of energy yesterday. So I did. I liked what I saw from both of those guys. But it's a little bit early to say, oh my gosh, they're standing out. They're pushing people back. They're holding their blocks and things like that because they just simply don't have pads on, and they won't until the first couple weeks of training camp. So at least from what I saw, I was really impressed with Tyler Smith and what he brought from a movement standpoint. They were doing some drills off to the side, and you're looking for heavy hands, and that's pretty much what it was. And he was popping the pads, and by the pads I mean the ones that like the guys carry in front of them. The I guess padding, not necessarily like pads on the shoulder, right, but he was popping that padding as much, if not more, than Zach Martin was. And I was from the far side of the field, so I mean that sound traveled, and I heard it, and I looked up, and I was like, oh, that's 73 going through a rep. So there were a couple things there that you really enjoyed watching with him. And then with Waletzko, without Tyron Smith, he was the one that was kind of placed in that running with the ones, and he was one of those guys that rotated in. It doesn't mean he's the swing tackle at the moment. Right. It doesn't mean that he's number 2 on the depth chart. However, him at least getting those reps and going with guys like a Connor McGovern or at least filling in for Tyron Smith are both good signs that he is trusted already this early in the process. He's not necessarily one of those guys that's going to have to work into a rotation. He may be one that is in the rotation at the moment, and that's even a step up than I think what we anticipated when we were watching his college tape and when he was selected in the middle of that day 3 portion.
You jotted down a few notes on Twitter that I wanted to get at, and one of them was about ghosting. Now, Osa sat out apparently with was it a hip or a quad? I think it was a quad contusion. And Chauncey Golston apparently got some work inside, and this is what you had to say about it. He stuck out to me both with his build, he's much bigger, and his speed. Can you expand on that?
Yeah, and I actually have an article coming out today on DallasCowboys.com that you can check out that kind of dives deeper into that. I had a great conversation with him after practice, and it was funny because we showed up and we sat down. We were right beside the defensive linemen, specifically the edge rushers, for the first portion of individual drills. And I looked up and I was like, who is 99? And of course, he wore 59 last year. I'm like, who is 99? And this is the first time that I've seen him in that number. I looked down at my little roster card. I was like, there's no way that's Chauncey Golston. This is a typo. I mean, he looks massive, like big in a good way. I mean, his arms are bigger, his legs are wider, and he's got more on the core side of things. Like, he looks big. And so watching him, I was like, okay, so he looks big. Is this a good thing or a bad thing? And then when they were in drills and you were looking for get off and you're looking for quickness and the bend and the ability to kind of move, he was one that still was as quick as the other guys. I mean, he didn't lose a step in terms of his size. So initially, my note on my notepad, I wrote, Chauncey Golston looks big, and I capitalized big and underlined it because I was like, oh my gosh, that's crazy. And then after that, I said, and he has the same speed. So the fact that he didn't have any kind of drop off from a speed standpoint, but his size was there, was impressive. So I went up to him after. I was like, hey, how much have you gained this offseason? He said 20 pounds.
Wow.
So he was like, I put on 20 pounds, and I was like, how did you do that? And he's like, I hired a chef. I've got my body right. We've really taken a step to moving forward with me in a full off season. I was like, that is awesome. And he's anticipating that he would play a little bit more of the 3 technique, maybe a little bit more of a 5 technique, and he played 2 snaps last year as a nose tackle. I don't know if he's going to do any more of that specifically, but I would expect maybe more of a versatile role for him bouncing along that defensive line. He may take more snaps as an interior defensive lineman than he would as an edge rusher. He still worked with both yesterday, so it's not like it's a completely full-time switch, but it's trending that direction. They want him to be versatile, and right now he's showing off that versatility in the early parts of OTAs.
I wonder if this is a direct connection with Dan Quinn, bringing in that kind of more versatile front seven type of look. I mean, he did it last year, bringing in guys. This year, he's kind of, came with that same mantra. But my face when you said he put on 20 pounds, I wish you could have seen it. That's nuts.
Somebody else that I was talking to yesterday was like, yeah, maybe 15 today, and then at the moment, and then it'll be 5 more after lunch. Like, I mean, there's a little bit of disconnect on whether or not it was a complete 20, but that's what he said, and I probably had the same face that you did. I can't see you in front of me, but I anticipated very similar to what I had whenever he said that to me initially.
Interesting nugget, man. Interesting nugget. You also talked about Dak Prescott as well. You said that he looked, was it sharp, I believe was the word. He finally gets a chance to focus right on football things. The health he's healthy. He's not worried about rehabbing as much. And I think he's at that stage of his career where those small tweaks and those details are what he's looking to improve upon. From an early look, I get it's OTAs, but how's he moving out there? How's he throwing out there? You kind of take on Dak Prescott.
Well, the thing that I was looking for specifically was the zip that he put on the balls. Like when he was putting some velocity behind his throws again, because toward the back half of the season and even early on last year when we were in training camp and he was dealing with the shoulder injury and he didn't necessarily have a whole lot of time to throw the football, it died off at the end. He didn't necessarily complete his throws, and that kind of transitioned into the regular season. And yeah, he had the high numbers through the first 6 weeks of the year, but especially when he got back down to the bottom part of the regular season, I wanted to see more on his throws. And he came out, and it's back in terms of the throws and the tip, what he had. I mean, the ball explodes out of his hand. He puts it where he wants it to go. He could run down the field and hand it to a guy better. He really was sharp initially. He had some plays throughout the team period where maybe he overthrew a guy or the timing was off. That's all going to come into play. It's OTAs. There was one play in team period where it was like a 2-minute drill or it was like a last second, and the offense needed a touchdown, basically a Hail Mary scenario. And, I mean, he threw it from the 64 yards out mark. So I guess what would that be, the 40 the 44, I guess, from the opposite side. No, it'd be even further than that.
They said there would be no math, Kyle. There would be no math.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm a reporter. Come on. But he threw it nearly 60 yards in the air, and he had some air on it too. So he's got an opportunity to come out and reestablish the arm strength against defenses, because I think last year defenses dared him to throw the ball deep. they dared him to try and beat them downfield because they loaded the box and they brought down the extra defender and they slowed down the run, but that didn't necessarily mean that Dak Prescott was going to beat them from throwing the football either. And so I think this is a way that he could challenge those defenses as if he could get the deep ball going again. And it looked like yesterday he could certainly do so.
I love to hear that, Kyle. I do. But from what seems like the second or third year now in a row for Dak, he's not going to have his top one or two guys. And in this case, I think it was 3 of the 4, Gallup, Tolbert, Washington, all out. It was an opportunity for one of these wide receivers to step up. Who got the next up reps, and did anybody even really catch your eyes in doing so?
Yeah, and honestly, this wide receiver room is so deep, and not necessarily with talent, but with bodies and these rookies. It actually gives an opportunity for some of these younger, undrafted guys, unproven guys, to step up and see who can stand out. And I thought a couple guys, one was Simi Fehoko from last year's draft pick, and a guy who never really got to see playing time and was really an afterthought on this roster throughout last season. I thought he finally got legitimate reps with the quarterbacks. And Dak Prescott involved, but also Will Grier, Cooper Rush in there too. And I thought Fehoko looked good. He looked quicker. Not necessarily like a massive step forward in terms of the quickness, but his routes are sharper. His footwork looks crisper. I mean, he has had a visible improvement. You can see that in the early parts of training camp. And, I mean, in terms of the way that he navigated around the red zone yesterday was something that I had written down as an improvement for sure. Additionally to that, I thought Jakari Robinson out of Wake Forest, undrafted free agent from last year, was impressive. And then TJ Vasher, who was a 2021 undrafted free agent, injured last year, never really got a chance to go. He's just like a walking highlight reel. He made one grab yesterday on Anthony Brown on the goal line where Dak threw it in a tight window and Vasher went and got it, and he was in the end zone for a touchdown. He's got a little personality to him too, which I like. He started grittying after the play. It was because he was an undrafted guy who was injured all of last year. Turned around and guess what? He made a play on a starter. He's gonna dance a little bit. So a couple of those receivers getting some valuable reps with Dak and Grier and Cooper Rush and Ben DiNucci of getting into the rotation and getting to play these guys or with these guys throughout OTAs.
Man, you brought up Vasher, and I got excited because I think he could be a weapon, right? Like, he may not be the most crisp route running guy. He's not the fastest or whatever, but you can't teach 6'6", and he probably can jump 14 feet. So, you could use that in the red zone.
Yeah, his catch radius is the best on the team by far. I mean, he 100% has so much room that he could grow from a fundamental standpoint, but that's something that maybe he was able to kind of focus in on during a quote-unquote redshirt year because he was hurt and because he had time to kind of to talk with these coaches and develop. If he can bring the same sort of speed and the same sort of athleticism that you would anticipate from him, at least from a pass catcher standpoint, I don't see why he couldn't fill a back end of the depth chart role, maybe like a Malik Turner role where he's not necessarily needed a ton of the time. Maybe you could put him on special teams and play out there if he's good at that. I still haven't really gotten a chance to see that to a certain extent. So, hey, if he excels at that, he may be able to find the back end of the depth chart role because I'm with you. I really want to see him shine because I was higher on him. I thought he would have been drafted last year, but the fact that he was signed was really exciting. And then, hey, he's got an opportunity to make it work with that size, that frame, and that athleticism all together.
In closing here, Kyle, I don't want to keep you too long, man. I appreciate this. It's Kyle Youmans, Cowboys TV host and draft analyst. How's our young Lion doing, man? How's he looking out there? Is he working with the DEs? He's working with the linebackers, or he's kind of everywhere like he usually is?
You said Ryan?
Our young Lion, a.k.a. Micah Parsons.
Oh, Lion. I thought you said Ryan. I I was racking my brain for who was named Ryan on the defense.
Ryan Nall, but I don't want to talk about him.
Yeah, he's on the offense though, so it's a little different. Yeah, but no, man, he looks where you want him to be. I mean, that's the biggest thing is again, there's no pads, so it's tough to really get a feel on the physicality that these guys are showing. But he was in the right place at the right time, and his athleticism's still there. He hasn't necessarily changed the body type a ton, and he was working significantly with the linebackers with a couple of blitzes up the middle too. So, I mean, in terms of Micah Parsons and what he could bring, I think he's still going to be right where you need him to be. And the fact of the matter is you didn't really want him to change a whole lot. You didn't want him to add weight. You didn't want him to slim down or do any of the sort. He looks exactly like he did last year, which is perfect. And then let's use that again, and let's find a way for him to be that lion on the backside of the defense and bring some versatility to that front seven for Dan Quinn.
What I took away from that is he was working significantly at the linebacker spot yesterday.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of the role that he played last year. He wasn't hand in the ground edge rusher just yet. He was at the second level. He was alongside Leighton Vander Esch, kind of what you anticipate from those linebackers, but he was back there for the majority of the time.
Gotcha. Hey, listen, Kyle, this has been fantastic. You dropped a ton of nuggets for us, man. And as always, I truly appreciate you coming on here and doing this for us, good brother.
Absolutely. Sounds good. Talk to you soon.
All right, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. That was one Ryan. Almost called you Ryan Nall. Thank y'all in this chat. Talking about some Ryan Nall. That was one Kyle Youmans of A to Z Sports of DallasCowboys.com. Let me get up out of here, man. Great stuff. Great stuff from Kyle. Great stuff. Listen, lots of nuggets. Lots of nuggets in that chat there, Cowboys Nation. I wrote a lot of things down. Vasher, Simi, our guy, Young Lion, Micah Parsons, more so at linebacker, but the weight that Golston put on, 20 pounds. Wow. I think that to me indicates he's going to be sliding inside a little bit there. Not a little bit, a lot of it. A lot of it. Yeah, TC915 got me all into this dang on Ryan thing. I can't. It's about ridiculous, man. It's about ridiculous. That's why I need to take a quick little break here, y'all. Take a quick little break, and let's talk about Worth the Pour. Check this out. Worth the Pour is proud to work with Courage and Conviction for a special Memorial Day promotion. For all orders of their bourbon and sherry cask, 10% will go to the Folds of Honors charity, a nonprofit organization that helps provide the families of fallen and disabled service members educational scholarships. Purchasing any of these whiskey flavors is a fantastic way to support for an incredible charity this Memorial Day. Stop by Worth the Pour for free samples of these flavors. And as always, use the code ATOZ Sports to save 5% on all Worth the Pour app orders.
You're listening to A to Z Sports.
Do it live!
At some point, hoping to broadcast
in front of the millions
of Cowboys fans to bring you the real. But for now, strap up and here's your host, Skywalker Steele.
I'm Luke Skywalker. I'm here to rescue you. We'll do it live.
Toxic. I despise you right now, bro. I love you, but I despise you because you now have Ryan Nall cinched in my head. I done called my guy Kyle Ryan Nall. Jeez. Salute to Kyle Youmans for joining us, man. Salute to Kyle Youmans and shout out to Worth the Pour. Make sure y'all check those guys out. Juan says, dang, Scott. Dave Hellman, Kyle Youmans. Big time, brother. You, my friend, need to be on Talking Cowboys permanently. Whoa. Appreciate that, Juan. I like being here with y'all. And I'm thankful that Dave and Kyle, anytime I hit those guys up, they're very responsive and willing to come on. and do this type of thing for the Cowboys community. I think it's very important. I went back again and listened to Dave's interview. I always go back and listen to my show sometimes. But this one, for sure, I'm going to actually clip that out because I think Kyle said a lot of cool things. And again, it's overreaction, Monday-ish type of feel. So you have to take some of these things with a grain of salt, but there are some things that you can, come away from this and be like, all right. 20 pounds on Golston. Interesting. Like to hear that. You can call into the show 351-999-3787. They got to deal with me, man. My lady says sometimes it's all that plays at the house. Hey, I got to get better at my craft, man. Derek said, don't move up and leave us. Man, I'm here. We here. Remember, we're here for a couple more years. So there's that. AJ Torres, sky watering hole around a star as wide receiver is something they have an eye on. And apparently one name floating around a lot is T.Y. Hilton. Thoughts? I can see it. I understand it. Look what's happening. James Washington's out. Tolbert should be back, and so should James next week. And when that happens, Semi, Vasher, or your wide receiver 2 and 3s. It's slim pickings. We talked about this before. The wide receiver room, as Kyle said, has bodies, but it doesn't have a ton of experience and production outside of CeeDee Lamb and James Washington. So, sure. I'm not opposed to that. Bring him in, see what's up, if he can find some connection. If you would ask me that during free agency, I would have told you, well, let's hold off. There's other guys that are better. Let's kind of put that on the back burner. But you're starting to get slim pickings at the wide receiver position. Right? Getting slim pickings at the wide receiver position. So when he was talking about, Kyle Youmans, that is, was talking about guys who put on some weight, that reminded me of Jane Slater's tweet about Neville Gallimore. Listen to what Jane had to say. Defensive tackle Neville Gallimore told me that he put on 16 pounds of muscle while maintaining his mobility. He wants people to pop in that tape this season and see a dog. Think Grady Jarrett. Rather be underrated but respected, focusing on his eyes, pass rush, and improvement in the run game. As we head back here on these Twitter streets, Neville Gallimore putting on 16 pounds. Chauncey Golston putting on 20. In the title, it says defensive line Hawks up. I promise y'all I had no idea about Gallimore. I'm sorry. No idea about Golston. I knew he got bigger because Kyle Youmans' tweet, but I didn't know it was 20 pounds. So these boys are getting bigger. Now, how real is it? Is it really 16? Is it really 20? Maybe not. But nonetheless, they're putting on added muscle, that off-season peanut butter, as my guy Vach Lombardi likes to say. Boy, need to turn that into a shirt. You tripping, Vach. Turn that into a shirt. It made me think. It made me think about what's going on with Neville, what the Cowboys are going to do with Neville. Now, let's talk about Neville Gallimore last year. He had, 13 tackles, 5 solo, 3 tackles for loss, and 1.5 sacks in 5 games. Now, remember, y'all, he was out for a minute last year. He was dealing with I think it was calf or something like that. Let me get him out here. This is not who we want. We don't want Semi. There you go. That's who we want right there. Big Neville Gallimore. He was dealing with his injury last year that kept him sidelined much longer than we really, really wanted to. But if he did indeed put those 16 pounds on, I think it's a clear indication they want him to do more one-tech things, right? And I kind of get that. Osa and Neville, I think, are your most talented defensive tackles in the room. Usually, you want your most talented guys on the field. You could split the 3 tech spots with Neville and Osa. Sure, you absolutely can. However, Ridgeway, Bohanna, whomever, I don't think they're going to play more than 20, 25 snaps at the most in a game. So there's going to be other opportunities for Neville and Osa to be on the field at the same time. And if they're going to do that, one of them has to be able to take on the double teams. One of them has to be able to shade over and do some of the one techie things. And Neville has the body build to do that. And he's got the playing style. He's a more bull in a china shop type of dude, in my opinion. Whereas Osa has that quickness and leverage to shine as the 3-tech. So I don't think it's a big surprise when I hear that he put on some weight, some muscle. 16 pounds, a little bit, that's a surprise. Now he's up to about 316, 318, which is good one tech weight. It's not your 325, 330, 340, but I think it's enough to where he can handle the double teams, but also be impactful with his just sheer talent of being a 3-tech naturally. Elbow injury. Thank you, Lavish. I said calf. We had so many calf injuries last year. Elbow injury. So, interesting stuff from Jane. Let's hop into the phone lines. We got Marv, the Marv on the horn. What's up, Marv?
What's up, fam? How you doing?
I'm good, man. Fantastic show today. Kyle dropped a whole lot of nuggets, and just kind of happy to be here. What's up?
Yeah, I heard some guys talking yesterday too. It's a few other guys that got on that peanut butter and had a chef, Bohanna. They say he's cut up, big and strong.
Okay.
And the one that hit the sled the hardest, they said they heard a thump all the way over is Tristan Hill. They said he had the most power out of everybody.
He better.
Yeah, he know. But that put pressure on 91. If them young boys play better than 91 getting cut.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah, you could argue Tristan Hill and Carlos Watkins are in battle for the last defensive tackle spot. And I use quotes because last is tough, but those two guys are probably in a battle. But if they both look good, then they probably keep them both.
I know. And they say Bohanna got stronger. He like 320. Just he was smart. Because you got to get that dietitian. You know what I'm saying? Because you can play big, but if you play big and slow with no power, you use it.
Yeah, and I mean, that's kind of what he was last year too, Marv. He was big body, right? But I think you can see the grown man strength of the NFL kind of get to him a bit, man. And kind of the undisciplined nature too. He was getting trapped to death last year.
He like to get this. That's what I think. Because, you got to go home after the season and look what you do. And he wasn't impressive with himself. You could tell how he was talking. He probably went the whole offseason, man, forget this. Because if y'all look at the tape, Kentucky, all the Kentucky guys in the middle was 340.
They some big boys,
even
yeah.
The ones that got drafted this year, they was like 340, 350. They like to get this. In the NFL, these people technique sound in that middle. You can be big, but you ain't getting no movement. Yeah, they gonna get you.
Hey, Marv, I think that John Ridgeway also put some pressure.
I know.
Oh, yeah. Don't you think?
John Ridgeway, how old him got the longest arms. The only thing he got to practice with John Ridgeway, because he's already strong, is his technique to stay lower. That's all he got to work with. Stay low. Stay low, baby. Stay low. Because he's going to be a beast. I'm telling y'all. And Bohanna, all them guys saw that. They're like, man, this big white boy ain't taking my big white boy trying to start.
Bohanna and them boys said, I ain't letting them take that middle from me, huh, Marv?
Yeah. And I'm glad for the receivers because you need this. Can't be a Roman one day. I want all them young boys to play right now. My veterans already know what they can do. They only just need a few practices and stay in shape. But the young boys come in there and let them play because we're gonna hit them with 2 or 3 of them receivers. Watch what I tell you. I'm telling you, somebody was finna turn it out. That's why I wasn't worried about when we lost Turner and we lost your boy Wilson. I wasn't worried. We're going to get that anyway. We're going to get that back quick. Now your boy Dak Prescott is going to be fully healthy. He's going to make 1 or 2 of them guys, somebody going to sign him. Probably lose them. I hate to say it, Cowboys. That's why we got the draft.
Well,
we're going to lose 2 or 3 people. We're going to lose 2 or 3 people again.
Who? The only person, Marv, we got to slow down, brother. The only person that's a free agent next year is James Washington. Semi Fehoko,
Okay.
TJ Vasher, Jalen Tolbert, all these boys are under contract, so they ain't going to lose nobody next year. Yeah, it'd be good to go.
Perfect. And then they said the Smith, the guard, they say that his technique getting sounder. He said he's got beat 1 time yesterday, and that's going to happen.
Yeah, Tristan got
he ain't
him.
got no pass on. Tristan got him.
They said Tristan got him, but then after that, he held his own against Tristan.
Got his own. And they say he was Ghostin trying to rush through the middle. I'm like, no, Ghostin. He's not going nowhere.
And listen, Ghostin can put on the 20 pounds if you want. But with Tyler Smith's already come in here 325, 330. He already strong.
I know. He's already strong. Yeah. He's going to get stronger. By the time the September comes, watch me. All them boys going to be ready. Everybody.
Indeed,
I want that running game because I was watching tape of Elliott, and how he was running his first 2 years. That's that line. And I was watching when we had them big boys in the middle. Now you got that big boy back in the middle. That boy going to do good. Him and Pollard. We're going to have 2,000 yards rushing this year. This is going to be a good year, guys.
If Zeke stay healthy, brother, and the offensive line is an improvement on last year, they can easily surpass the 1,700 yards they rushed for last year.
They're going to pass that easy. And then I'm glad they're putting your boy, what do you say? His name Waleko? How you say his name?
Look, this is how we going to do it. This is how we can help you out with that name. It's not Waleko. It's well, let's go. And put it all together. Well, let's go.
Waleko. Okay, yeah.
We can go ahead and just let's go. You got to pronounce that Z.
Oh, well, let go.
Well, we're going to let it go. Go ahead, Marv. We're going to let it go. We're going let it go.
Well, let it go. But it's good they're playing him right now.
It's good.
Like I say, y'all, they let him play right now. It's good. Can't let them boys play, man. Let them get beat up. That's how you learn. Don't have them on the sideline just waiting, and then you say, oh, you panic at the last minute, and then you put him in. No. I want him to get beat up right now, all the way to preseason.
Let him get beat up.
Let him get beat up. Yes. Stop doing that. That's how you make your team. What do your boy Law say? Steel, sharpen steel. Yeah, let's do that.
Shield. Yep. Steel, sharpen steel. I'm with you. Let him get beat up right now so we can be ready for the season if he's going to be the swing tackle.
There you go. And y'all favorite player, they say he been looking good from Florida. A&M.
Indeed, man. Hey, Marv, look, we got a couple more callers coming in. I want to get to a couple more on the Twitter streets here, and then we're going to wrap up the show, man. As always, it's a joy talking to you, Marv. It really is, brother.
You too, family. I'm going to see you when you come down.
Indeed. And I will be there. Appreciate you.
All right, brother. Have a blessed day.
You too, man. That's a new one, Marv. We got a new one from Marv, y'all. I love Marv, man. Well, let go. We gonna let it go. I like that one better than well, let's go, to be honest with you. Nah. Look, this is what we gonna do with Matt. Well, let's go. If he's playing good, it's well, let's go. If he ain't playing good, it's well, let him go. Thank you, Marv, for that. Love it. I love it. Woo. We got 903 and CG on the horn. Let me get to, man, listen, I said we could do 2 shows with the Nuggets we got, and we kind of approaching that, but I want to get to a few more of these tweets. And the fact that he talked about Matt, well, let's go. Let's go ahead and look at a tweet that really wasn't involving him, but the guy I think he's going to be competing with. And that's Josh Ball. Our guy, Michael Gelkin, who I've had on the show a few times. I want to get him back on here. He said, Cowboys left tackle Josh Ball saw first-team work with Tyron Smith being absent. Before a half-speed Hail Mary pass that wide receiver CeeDee Lamb caught uncontested, Ball committed a false start. So Avante Collins subbed in and took the rep, part of Cowboys' emphasis to clean up pre-snap penalties in 2021. Coach actually talked about this in the press conference where I think Gelkin asked him, hey, is you pulling Ball, is that you guys kind of emphasizing cleaning up those pre-snap penalties? And Coach said, well, this is a thing I do. This isn't new. I do this. You guys just haven't really seen us involved at this part of camp over the last few years due to the COVID restrictions. But this is just what I do. That's kind of all the news we got on Josh Ball. That's kind of all the news we got on him. He was pulled for the pre-snap. I should have asked Youmans about Josh Ball, but I was kind of excited about Matt will let go. I just was. I think it was Hellman who actually tweeted about him. Let me see if I can pull that one up. He said, I think it's interesting that Matt Waletzko appeared to be the first name called with Tyron Smith unavailable today. That's a hell of an opportunity for growth for a rookie day 3 pick. I do as well. He also said Tyler Smith took reps with the 2s today, but I don't think I'm going to read too much into that. I totally agree, Dave. We talked about this before, Cowboys Nation. We said, we all believe Tyler Smith is going to be the left guard. It might not be right away because they do this. They kind of move in these rookies slow. No matter if they're the first round pick, second round pick, whatever. Freaking Micah Parsons wasn't starting right away in the first practice because they're rookies. That's just how it goes. So McGovern did it. Now, if we get to training camp, if we get deep into training camp and he still hasn't taken over that left guard spot, then maybe you start raising your antennas. But I wouldn't read too much into Tyler Smith playing with the second unit just yet. Glenner said 105 said Ball is small. That's why Matt Waletzko is in over him. Man, I'm telling you, if Ball did not get stronger after sitting out all last year and then having all of off season, that's a problem. That's a problem. Marv, you a GOAT, man. You have no idea. You a GOAT, man. I really do appreciate you. All right, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna get to CG. Then I got one more Jane Slater tweet. Then I'll get to 903. So hold tight. Gotcha, CG. What's goody, brother?
What's going on with you, boss man? How are you?
I'm good, man. Feeling a lot better this morning. I think this has been a fantastic show. Y'all been killing it in the chat and on these phone lines.
Yeah, it's a good way to rebound from some crazy news, right?
Yes. That's what I said. And I don't say this in a bad way, but y'all are seriously like therapy, but it's in a great way. Love talking to y'all. What's up?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely understand that. Look, man, I feel like the offense improvement is, yes, that's going to be on Kellen Moore, right? And I feel like Dak is going to take leaps and bounds this year, and I've never been a Dak guy. But the more I watch film, and the more I study tape on Tyler Smith,
yeah.
I feel like he's going to have, and this is my bold prediction, I feel like he's going to have a Micah Parsons impact on the offensive side of the ball for everybody. And I forget who show it was that I was listening to, and it just made sense. Mm-hmm. And I think this is where the Cowboys are actually going to, for some reason, we, the Dallas Cowboy organization, feels addition by subtraction more than everybody else. And I feel like subtracting the Connors, both of them, right? Subtracting both Connors from the offense is going to help that entire offensive line. I think Tyler Biadasz is going to play better knowing he got a big, strong boy to the left of him. Tyron Smith or Terrence Steele at left tackle is going to be able to play strong with Tyler Smith there. And then on the other side, Steele at starting right tackle. And if he has to swing over, because that's going to be our swing tackle, let's just cut to the chase, right? Ball and
I don't want it to be those CG.
It's a lot of movement, right? And you need that continuity. Yes, but especially if let's take into account what you just read. If Josh Ball is not ready, we're gonna go with Lego. We're gonna go with Lego at left tackle.
This CG. This has been my problem all off season. I'm not ready to crown any of those dudes.
Veteran.
Go get me a veteran.
We definitely need a veteran.
At the very least, to put pressure on those boys, right, in training camp. And if they beat out the veteran, great. But I'm not ready to just hand Ball or let's go the swing tackle.
I'm with you on that. That's why I think they'll be more comfortable with putting Steele at the left side and letting somebody else go to the right. And if Steele goes to the left side and Ball out, that contract gonna get crazy. But Tyler Smith, back to my original point, Tyler Smith is going to make this offense go crazy because they're going to focus back on the run more than ever. Even with 1,700 yards rushing, I think as a team, we'll probably be closer to 19, maybe 2,000. And I feel like Dak is going to be more efficient just because he's going to be able to step up in the pocket. He's going to be able to have confidence in his offensive line. And that Dak that was changing the plays at the line, making sure they knew what play was going to be called and doing the veteran quarterback things, we'll see that throughout the season with Tyler Smith playing at a high level.
I tell you what, and again, this could be just the fan in me, but I have a hard time believing Tyler Smith is going to be getting put in Dak Prescott's lap often. You know what I'm saying? Like, if Tyler Smith gets beat in pass protection, I don't think it's going to be because he's getting bull rushed to the back. I think it'll be because he's losing with quickness on the inside shoulder, or his hand placement got sloppy again and somebody kind of just did a rip an under or a swim move or something like spin move. Like I think it was yesterday, was it Hill? Tristan Hill got him on a spin. But I don't see the pushing him back in Dak's lap thing like you saw last year with Connor Williams.
And that's the thing. If he's not getting pushed back, that's when, like, if you're getting pushed back, bull rush every play, that's different. That's hard to elude. And I feel like you'll see Dak be able – the spin move and even some of the stunts, I feel like Dak is going to be able to escape that from the inside, especially with Tyron Smith and Steele at your tackles. Now I can escape to the outside and still get the ball out versus it just was ugly. It just was ugly. That left guard spot was just horrible last year. And lastly, I'm going to just say this because I feel like just dropping a bomb anyway.
Uh-oh. Let me get ready.
Like
get ready.
Ball, here it is. Markquese Ball.
Bell. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Bell. I'm sorry. Markquese Bell will take – I think he's going to take Hooker's spot by like 12 or 13. Week 12 or 13, he's going to be in that starting position.
I'll give you a clue bomb. I'll give you a clue bomb for that. That's bold. That's bold.
At free safety, yeah. Because if you watch his tape, he could play, and they said it before they brought him in. He can play over the top. He can play in the box. He can do all of that. And if you put that with, I just lost my guy name.
Curse?
With Curse, if you put that with Curse, there's no telling what we're going to do. Because I can put either one down there to play the tight end role. Curse can play over the top. He could come down in the box. I can leave Bell over the top. I can bring him in the box. I can put this defense is about to go crazy with Quinn. And I feel like on defense we'll end up top 5 defense easy. I think that's gonna be easy.
I can see this defense improving. It's going to be hard to improve on the turnover battle and third down defense, but I said this before when we talked about improvement. they may fall down in the ranks in turnovers and third down defense, but that doesn't mean they can't improve elsewhere. And as a collective, I could see this defense being better this year. I can.
Yeah, and I think it was Marv that said he's saying 50, but I'm saying last year's sack leader was at 55. I think we're going to be in that 50 to 55 range.
That's a lot. That's 14 more sacks.
If we're there, right? If we're there, we're getting off the ball. We might not get as many turnovers, but, sacks and field position is the game for me. The turnovers is cool, but when you get the turnovers, we got to be able to capitalize on it, right?
And they were pretty good at turning those turnovers into points last year. But I will say this. You just brought up a point that I kind of want to touch on. If they do decrease, if they kind of fall back to the median in regards to turnovers, if they pick that up, with sacks, and they get into the 50 range or so, that's how you can become better. Like, say you go from first in turnovers to seventh, but you go from eighth in sacks to second. And honestly, more important, sack percentage. Because you can have a game that you get 6 sacks as a team or 7 sacks, and that can spike your total sack rate up. But if your sack percentage is top 5, top 6, that means you're consistently pressuring the quarterback and taking them down game after game after game. So if they can rate high in sack percentage and that helps mitigate them falling back from being number 1 in turnovers, I think you'll not only help the defense in the whole, but you're going to help the secondary. And now you got a ball hawk back there like Hooker, get more turnovers, Micah rushing. It's a lot you can do, man, if they can up that sack number.
Yeah, and watch what happens. And Tyler Smith and Bell, those are going to be 2 big names this year. But Tyler Smith is going to be that lion on that offensive side of the ball like Micah Parsons is.
All right. Hey, CG, I like it, man. I like it.
Hey, I appreciate you, man. Thank you for the time. Keep doing your thing on your show. Look, I'm behind you 100%. Cowboy Nation all day. VA to Texas. Stand up. Let's get it.
Let's get it. DC4L, baby.
Yes, sir. Go.
55. That would be fun. I don't even know the last time the Cowboys had 55 sacks. Shoot. 41 was a pretty impressive number last year. They did it with Micah Parsons playing sometimes over there. And actually, a tweet I did not bring up on here was DeMarcus Lawrence. Think about that. We did that, and this is why on Vacha's show I was like, yeah, I could see the sack total increasing. Neville Gallimore missed most of the year. DeMarcus Lawrence missed half of the year. Micah Parsons was a rookie. He was just going, right? So, yeah, I could see them increasing their sack total. How much? 55 a lot, but I can see him increasing it from 41. And mind you, Dan Quinn, year 2, knowing these guys more is very important.
Super chat.
Appreciate you, Swan, for the $5 donation. And Brando Gomez,
super chat,
$2 donation, says Wilson and Bell fire. Whew. I'm a big time Donovan Wilson fan, and the fact that he's our third safety, I love that he can be kind of that mercenary type of guy off the bench. If Bell can be what Wilson was his second year early, and I'm not saying from a statistical standpoint, but from a playing style standpoint, boy, I love that. I love that safety rotation, maybe even more than last year. And KZ, I don't want to disrespect KZ because he's a veteran. I just think there's a different attitude with these guys than what KZ was. But KZ was important early on, especially in getting this defense right and lined up correctly. All right, real quick, let's talk about this week's Ride of the Week before we get into our final part of the show, and then I hit the phone line. This week's Ride of the Week is the 2022 Mazda CX-5 Select Package. Starting out under $30,000. Got all-wheel drive, adaptive cruise control, Wi-Fi hotspot, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, lane keeping assistance, all the up-to-date features you need for the modern-day driver. If you want to check out more, get more info on the 2022 Mazda CX-5, hit up freemanmazda.net or visit Freeman Mazda in Irving, Texas. Let me get to this last tweet by Jane Slater, and it had a lot to do with Dak Prescott. Not you, Dave. Jane. She says, Dak's been the healthiest he has been in a while. No restrictions. Asked CeeDee Lamb to move his locker next to him, and they're always communicating. Wants him to be his receiver for the entirety of his career. He's really focused on the footwork and consistency. And I think it was somebody in the chat, might have been King Element, that said they want to see him be more consistent. Dak talked about that consistency. But I think the first part is important. Healthiest he's been in a while, no restrictions. I am 10 toes down on this with Dak Prescott. From a quarterback standpoint, I think he's gotten better year after year after year after year. And I think he'll only continue to get better year after year. And the fact that he's focused on those details, focused on the footwork and things like that, those are things you want to hear from veterans, because I don't care if you've been in this league for 15 years. Tony, I love this one quote about Tony where he talks about every year you can work to get better at something from the quarterback standpoint. Whether it's a small technique thing, whether it's a small tweak in how you throw and how you twitch your hips and what you're reading in your footwork, there's always something to improve upon. And I think Dak focusing on that is important. But he hadn't had that in the last couple years. He hadn't had that. There's always been something bothering, whether it's been the shoulder or it's been the ankle and then the shoulder. Now he has no restrictions, and I think it's important because he's out there with CeeDee Lamb, who he talks about moving next to him. And he says that because his other two locker mates are gone. I forget who the other one was. I know Cooper was there. Oh, Lyle Collins. I think it was Lyle Collins. And I'm big on communication. In fact, he should be big on communication with CeeDee Lamb. Not just off the field, but on the field. How many times did we see CeeDee Lamb and Dak Prescott kind of not on the same page in that second half of the season? Now, you could argue a lot of it had to do with Dak kind of being in and out of practice, Zeke being in and out of practice. Hell, I'd argue that's a good case. But nonetheless, CeeDee's going into the third year. He talked about, having and wanting that pressure to be wide receiver one. In fact, if y'all want to go check out Professor O, he dropped a fantastic article. Professor O, I'm gonna need you to we need to bring this back. Let me see if I still got it. Let me see. We need to bring that back, Professor O. Obscure stats of the week. He dropped a fantastic article talking about the toxic plays, but it's a good thing about CeeDee Lamb. I think he's going to be, I said this before, I think he's going to be fine. It's not CeeDee Lamb I'm worried about. I think it's how they get him the rock. Who is Lametta? This thing is killing me. Dak needs to work on his accuracy. Y'all, why do y'all seem to go with this ESPN FS1 driven thing? Dak Prescott is accurate. I think the problem is y'all want this man to be perfect. From every single metric, from the eye test, from all of that, Dak Prescott is more than adequately accurate. It's mind-boggling to me. It truly is. Is he 100% with his accuracy? Absolutely not. Is every throw the greatest? Absolutely not. But if you seriously go around the league and watch every quarterback, and you'll come back to Dak and say, oh, it ain't as bad as I thought. No, it's not. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. He's not a GOAT when it comes to that type of thing. But Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are GOATs. He ain't Peyton Manning. He is a top 10 accurate quarterback easily in this league. That's not even up for debate. I'm going to need Cowboy fans to do a little bit better than, oh, he's not accurate. We got to do better than that. There's things Dak has to be better at. Accuracy, come on, what are we doing? Dak has to finish better. I'm going to be honest with you. That is the biggest thing that you should be focusing on about Dak Prescott. He has to finish better. He has not done that well over the last 2 seasons, so we should be putting that type of pressure on him. But accuracy is a myth. From every metric, from the film, it is a myth that we have to stop feeding to the fan base. Quarterback's accurate, man. Period. I don't know what else to say. All right, 903. Close us out, 903. Is this Queen?
Hey,
oh, my bad. I thought I heard a lady in the background. My bad, bro.
Yeah, well, there is a lady in the background, but no, just
No. She's fine. She's fine. I just thought it was Queen because Queen be coming in here with some fire.
Nah, and I'm a new caller, just listening to your podcast or your cast for the first time.
Oh, wow.
How often do you get on?
Well, first of all, man, appreciate you. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the channel. I'm here every day, Monday through Friday, about 8:15-ish a.m. Central.
8:15. Is that
Central
time? Okay.
Yeah, Central.
All right. Yeah, man. After the playoff game, getting shellacked by the 49ers, man, I haven't really been keeping up with the Cowboys. Really kind of tired of it, man.
I don't blame you.
Been a Cowboy fan since Dorsett days. But I don't want to hear about the hopes. I don't want to hear about none of that. I want to know actually, man, what really is going on. The offensive line needs to improve. I don't know why they let Amari Cooper go. I know there's probably some issues in the locker room. But and then this thing about getting rid of Zeke is crazy. So I don't know. What's your opinion?
I do not listen. I've said this before, and you're new, so you wouldn't know this. I never knocked the frustrated Cowboys fan after what happened last year. You won't get it from me. I'm not going to be that guy that says, "Oh, don't worry about that. Everything's great. Winning the Super Bowl." Not going to be me. I understand your frustrations. It's been a long time, brother. And the way that the season ended last year, it just adds on to that almost 3 decades worth of frustration. But what we try to do here is we get that out, right? And then we try to move on as best we can and live in a kind of week-to-week mentality, right? What you're not going to get from me on this show is a whole bunch of Skittles and rainbows. So if you're looking for that, it's a different channel. What you're going to get from me is I'm going to talk about what's happening with the boys weekly, daily, and looking forward to different things and breaking down some film if we get a chance, breaking down players, all that type of stuff. So listen, I get it. I get the frustration. I get how you're upset. But I think the best way to cope with it, man, is to just live in the moment with the Cowboys. And right now in the moment, we got OTAs. We got new rookies to talk about, some free agents. And slowly but surely, that sting from that Niners loss will start to go away, and you'll get back excited for the upcoming season.
Well, that's good to hear. Offensive line, what's up with that?
O-line, you confident on the O-line, or you a little worried?
I think Steele did a good job. Zach Martin always does a good job. My question is a left guard, and then Tyron Smith, man, he's a good player. I mean, always been Hall of Famer. But so my thing is center and guard, left guard. That's my issue.
Well, I would throw Tyron Smith as an issue too. He's going to be out. That's almost a given. Death, taxes, and Tyron Smith missing 3 to 5 games is almost a given. So that's fair. Center, I think Biotish played a little bit better as the year went on, but he is now the marked man. I think somebody in the chat said Tyler Biotish is now the Kyron Williams of the offensive line, right? Where he was kind of that 5th best guy, and we're all looking to improve upon him. So if there is an upgrade out there, sure, I'm all for looking forward. If not, I think what we're looking for is a 3rd-year jump from Tyler Biotish. But I'm actually excited about Tyler Smith on the left guard spot.
Yeah. All right, man. That's pretty much it.
All right.
That's all I have. When is training camp? When is it starting? I was out there last year in Oxnard, in California, but I caught some of the practices. But other than that, like I said, after that playoff game, I didn't know that I didn't care about draft. I'm one of those guys that usually, research the players, and and sometimes we get drafted I think that we should get, but I really don't care this year. about all of that. I just wanted to put up and shut up.
Hey, man, I ain't mad at you. I feel you, brother. Training camp starts July 25th. I don't have the whole schedule, but I do know it starts July 25th.
All right, man.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Have a good day. I think King said, I don't think I ever get over that 49ers loss. Listen, it was a tough pill to swallow, y'all. It was a tough pill to swallow. I don't know how the hell I did that post-game show. Sometimes I go back and watch and I'm like, was I numb? I'm obligated. I have a job to do, and people don't. And I think it's Jesse often brings this up. Do y'all know how hard it is to, as soon as that game is over, go? All the raw emotions. And in that game, I was just like, 3, 2, 1. Is it timeout? It's over? This is how the season ends. It was a gut-wrenching defeat, man. So I get it, dog. I get it. Y'all in here fussing with, I'm sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, Lermetra? Yeah, I see y'all fussing. The Dez Carter game and the Niners game have been two games that almost made me cry. So, the game that almost brought me to tears. I'll tell you a story. We're in the weeds. We're in overtime. It's January of 2006. This was not prime me defending Tony Romo. That would come after the fact. But it was still like, yo, we got so much hope when Tony Romo came in and took over for Drew Bledsoe. Now, I want to say this was like on New Year's Day or something like that because I went to a party. I remember specifically about this party. I was not drunk, Derek. I was young. I shouldn't have. Even I don't mean nothing. I know a lot of kids drink. But I was one of those, hey, man, I play basketball. I'm not drinking. I'm good. But I think I made my way to a party like in the, I won't say the middle of that game, but I walked to like a party or something like that because it was around the corner from my house. And I watched the ending. Driving down the field. Jason Witten, I think, gets the first down. And this is in Seattle, by the way. Y'all know the game I'm talking about. In Seattle. I think got robbed. They reviewed it, said he didn't make it, whatever. So we get to what, fourth down? Little old, was it Grammatica? The kicker. He was such a weird looking kicker. And Tony Romo fumbles that snap. I thought he was about to make it. Then I think it was Jason Babineau. Tackles him for the loss. I went and sat down on the steps. Everybody just partying around me. And I'm just sitting there. I almost cried, dog. I almost cried. That was the one time I almost cried. I've never cried. But that time just tore me up because it was a kick. A field goal from like the 5. Are you kidding me? That was the only time, man. Other than that, I just got numb to it. Because think about that. Up to that point, and mind you, at that time, and that age, up to that point, Dave Campo, Chan Gailey, the disappointment was kind of whatever. But there was hope right there. There was hope. And I think it was Bill Parcells who said, I think that team would have won the Super Bowl. So I was just gut wrench, man. Russell said that snap, that fumble, yeah, I was done. Am I Don Lemon? So, man, no. I hope y'all saying that's because I just look like him and not because I act like him. Because I know a lot of people don't like to do it. I don't watch that stuff. New season brings a new hope. Yes, it does, Jose. That's why hopefully we can try to move forward, and do things a little bit differently. Jose said, I watched a playoff game on Nickelodeon, so it didn't hurt that. They put the slime down. What did they do? I can't watch it on Nick, man. I couldn't listen or talk to about Cowboys for weeks, says Mirror 0101. What's y'all traditions when the Cowboys lose? Derek says, what happened at the party, Sky? I just kind of was moping around. Back when I didn't cover the boys like I do now over the last couple of years, Dallas loses, movie. I literally would find a movie. Usually movies are background sometimes when I'm not really trying to watch it. I'm watching it intently, trying to forget about the game. That used to be my routine. Not turning on no ESPN, not turning on no whatever. Movie. When I used to go to my boy to the dungeon and watch the games, I put on 105 through the fan on my ride home. But as soon as I got home, movie. I don't want nothing to do with the Cowboys for about 24 hours. All right, man. That was some good stuff today. Great call. If you have not hit that like button and you enjoyed this show, hit it for us, man. It helps the channel, helps us grow, helps us get this quality Cowboys content out there. It does. And if you enjoyed it, like my guy 903, I should have got your name. My apologies. If you enjoy it, hit that subscribe button. We've been growing. By the way, real quick, let me just say this. Shout out to y'all. I didn't bring this up. I hardly bring it up when it happens because I'm just going. I just work. I just go. But we hit 16,000 subscribers.
Bomb Squad!
We had 16,000 subscribers. I think that is phenomenal. We're on our way. Next goal, 17 and 18 and 19. And hopefully we can get 20 by the time the season starts. And I think things will start to ramp up here as we get to training camp. I'll be giving you guys, my eyes will be on the field. And if my eyes are on the field, your eyes will be on the field as well. So that'll be cool. Hopefully we get, credentialed here sometime soon, and then we'll get more coverage. And I'm just dedicated, man, to give you guys quality and real Cowboys coverage and takes as much as I can. Because one of the things I want to do is stay true to the reason why I'm doing this. I just don't believe we're getting that in other places that have more resources. That's one of the main reasons why I started doing this. I'm like, man, we don't want to hear about T.O. taking a dookie. We don't want to hear about Candace and Jessica Simpson. I don't care about that. I don't care about Jerry's baby mama. I want to talk about the Cowboys. And y'all come here every morning, man, and I think it's dope. Y'all the best. With that said, I'm going to press this button, man. We're going to get up out of here. Wait. Let me check. Make sure I didn't miss any other super chats. Y'all know I have a problem doing that sometimes. So give me a second here. I think I got them all, though. I might have missed, let me see. Toxic's first super chat. I saw that during the load up. Yeah, I did miss your super chat, Toxic. Where you at? He says, I thought I missed it. I guess I didn't, brother. I guess I did. Okay, so I did miss one. Let me get to it.
Super chat.
Lamar earlier, he said that Pollard's more explosive and more of a change of pace, but same but different. Right. And then Sully says, as Martin told the judge, I ain't got no ends. Salute to you, Sully. All right. Now, I think I'm good. Somebody try my mind. Now I think we're good. Now let's go ahead and press this button and get that up out of here. Appreciate y'all. Hey, tune in later tonight. Final episode of A to Z Sports Prime Time for the week. Later on, hit that notification bell. I'm going to drop the Kyle Youmans phone call. I'll drop it on the channel. A lot of good stuff there. A lot of good nuggets, y'all. All right. Appreciate y'all. Enjoy the rest of y'all Thursday. I'll holler at y'all later over on the volume. And tomorrow morning on Feel Good Friday. We out of here. Peace. Love you.
I don't have the patience to jack with you today.